What is up, everybody? It is I, Ronin. Today I'm coming at you with your favorite show, learning how to play something that really should be a pure deck and not realizing that till way after. And that deck today is Nemesys. So, if you don't know what Nemesys are, they're a newly revealed archetype. They're, almost complete, I think, but, yeah, their whole thing is building up resources so you could either summon Arch Nemesis Protos or Arch Nemesis Eschatos, the two boss monsters. And you know what, let's go ahead and get right into this deck profile by saying, the extra deck doesn't matter. Literally play whatever you want, because everything has to be focused on these two. So we're going over it now. These are just cards that you all know if you've watched the channel long enough that I sort of like to run as staples, and I just have them for extravagance fuel. That's what this is. So yes, the main deck is going to be the most important aspect of it, and let's go ahead and start with the Arch Nemesises, which are the boss monsters, starting with Eschatos, which cannot be normal summoned or set, and must be special summoned from your hand by banishing 3 face-up monsters with different types you control or that are in your graveyard. It can't be destroyed by card effects, and once per turn, you can declare card type on the field and destroy all monsters on the field of that type, and neither player is allowed to special summon monsters of that type until the end of the next turn. Arch Nemesis Protos does sort of the same thing, except it does it with attributes. So they're both pretty good. They have inverted stats. One's 3,000 attack, 2,500 defense. The other is the opposite. One's a light, one's dark, and honestly, I think Protos is the better of the two. But it is good to have both of them just in case, because, like, say, against Salaman, great. Declare Cybers. Against, I guess Salaman, great again. Or Medolce, maybe, even? Declare Earth, and, like, they both serve very unique purposes. They're definitely splashable in a lot of decks just because of how their special summoning condition is. I should also mention Protoss requires you banish monsters with different attributes. But yeah, they're very good sideboard cards, and that's kind of how this whole deck feels. Everything would be great in the sideboard. But let's go ahead and go over the other main deck monsters, which is Nemesis Corridor, Nemesis Umbrella, and Nemesis Flag. All of them have the common effect that by returning a banished Nemesis monster to the, any monster that's banished, really, I should say, to the deck, they can special summon themselves from the hand. Corridor, once per turn, lets you add a banished Nemesis back to your hand. Umbrella lets you add a Nemesis in the grave back to your hand. And Flag lets you search Nemesis monsters from the deck. So they all definitely have good effects, they all have different attributes, and they all have different types. So ideally, what you could do is have any of these free on the field at the time, and summon either of these depending on the situation. The issue is actually getting to a point where you can use them. In order to help with sort of the banishing, we do have Aloof Lupine, who, when normal summon, lets you banish a monster from your hand, so a little helpful for special summoning. We also have the Blazing Mars. I personally love this card. It has a burn effect, but its primary purpose is that its summoning condition is just banishing 3 monsters, so you are able to fuel your Nemesis stuff. Again, graveyard setup, hard to do with this deck, so a little iffy. We also have Goblinberg, just because, it can give us actual board presence, which is very nice. I appreciate that. Let's see. Beyond that, though, just our spell traps. There's only one Nemesis spell trap right now called Nemesis Adstrea, I think. It's a quick play. It's basically the monster reborn, except it also goes from the banish zone. And if the monster you summon is level 11 or higher, it cannot activate its effects this turn. It is a hard once per turn. So it's a pretty decent recovery card. Already went over Pot of Extravagance. Golden Sarcophagus, after sort of explaining everything with how important it is to have banished Nemesis monsters, makes sense. Foolish Burial, it's a Another way to send things to the graveyard, get possible banish fuel for our arch nemesis or Mars, and just a good way to target things for Reborn. So we all owned it, the 2020 revision, obviously. Called by the Grave, just because what you want to do with this deck is go for one of these two. So it's kind of a going second because what you do really depends on what your opponent is summoning. So you have to really watch that. We have Free Twin, not Lightning Vortex, because we might want board presence actually. And being able to pop things is nice. It's also discard fuel for even more Nemesis stuff. We also have one-dimensional fissure because obviously banishing is important, and if it just banishes all monsters, we're pretty much in the clear. And free impermanence for our hand trap. As I said, extra deck, doesn't matter. So we're jumping right into the side deck. So we have one extra of Ashatos and Protos in case one will be more helpful than the other in specific matchups. Free Gamma Seal for that sick Kaiju action. Free Lightning Storm in case we really want to go second. One red reboot because stopping traps is nice. And a slight going first package with Solemn Strike and Warning as our Solemn Brigade. And yeah, so normally we would just go into a couple replays. I show you the deck strengths and weaknesses, so on and so forth. However, this time I feel like I kind of got it all good with one replay. So yeah, I'll see you guys in that one replay. Alright, welcome to the first and last replay with my buddy Kaze. He has a YouTube channel himself. I'd recommend checking it out. He's getting his start, but I think he's doing pretty well. I am Tab, as usual, and he is playing Ice Barriers, so you know we're in for a exciting matchup right now. Alright, so we are going to be going first, which is immediately not what you want to do. So we do use Extravagance, banish 6, and get some draws, nothing we can really use, so we just set pass, and I knew he was playing Ice Bears at this point, so I wasn't particularly worried about the OTK, so I just set pass, and I felt fine with it. Now we're on to his turn. He's just going to set the Blizz, pass, it was back to us. We summon the Aloof Lupine to go ahead and banish some Arch Nemesis, so we would have the ability to do some things. Probably should have banished the Blazing Mars, actually. That would have been a better play on my part. But we do attack over the Blizz, and he gets to draw for Geomancer. He gets the Medallion for the Search, and because we control 4 more cards, he's able to summon Medium, setting the Cryomancer. I mean, yeah, that makes sense. However, he's just going to attack over Aloof Lupine, which gives us back our Protos, which is very helpful, obviously. So we're going to just summon Goblin Bird to attack over the Cryomancer. Then it is on to our opponent, who is going to just summon Cryomancer and can't attack because Cryomancer affects your own monsters too. Then it's back to us, and we did not draw anything helpful, so we just negate that so we can attack over. Back to our opponent, though, who also not drawing much. The Caravan lets us both draw. We get a impermanence, which is super helpful, obviously. And we're going to be taking a little bit of damage here. Then we're back to us, and we get Gold Sark, which is great. Thankfully, we did banish Nemesis Flag. We do have the Adistracia, so we will be able to bring that back. So that's a way to gain some speed. Our opponent did not attack because he said he felt bad, and in response I made a flag. So yeah, we have our thing. So we now are just going to use Nemesis Flag to search a Nemesis with Corridor. Then we'll use Corridor's effect by returning our Arch Nemesis Protos to special summon itself. Then we are going to banish from the grave the Goblinberg as well as our 2 monsters to summon Protos, which is pretty good, and Protos is going to declare water for its effect, blowing up all the waters. However, we are then able to attack. He does get a draw, though. As back to our opponent, who's going to draw yet again. Caravan, hoping we both draw into good things. We drew an Extravagance. He did not draw much good, unfortunately. So banishing 6, again, for the draw. We summon Flag for the search of the Umbrella. Then we're going to use Umbrella's effect to put our corridor back in deck and special summon it. Then we're using this corridor's effect to put our flag back in deck to special summon it. And then from there we are able to make a Shadows. And from there we can just kind of turn by turn declare and pop. However, is back to him, and there's not much he's super able to do here, unfortunately. So we just summon Goblin Bird, get an Umbrella out, declare water, attack. And yeah, that's basically what this does as a pure deck. It's not good. It's extraordinarily slow. However, once you can get these two out, you're pretty good. You can just, with a fair bit of consistency, clear the board. So they do work well together. My final thoughts on the deck is just, on its own, it doesn't do enough to turbo these guys out, or even one of these guys out, really, because they're both great, and I definitely see them getting splashed into a lot of future decks. It's just their own deck is hot garbage. Maybe they'll come out for some new support. The day that I am recording this, I heard that they put out a new one, so I might check that out and mess around with this deck list a little bit. But yeah. All that being said, let me know what you guys think of the deck. Like if you liked, comment if you have something to say, and subscribe if you want some more. This has been Ronin, signing off.